I'm delighted to moderate this panel today. I'm also a board member of the Canada-Ukraine Chamber of Commerce, who is hosting this auspicious event. And I'm delighted to be joined today by both Canadian, Ukrainian, industry, government. This is going to be a very interesting and interactive panel. How we're going to set it up is we're going to go speaker by speaker. I will introduce each speaker. They will spend a couple of minutes and just tell you about their priorities and what they've been working on. And then we're going to go into some interactive discussion and questions. In terms of the context, we really I think everybody understands the importance of Ukraine for world security, world food security, and world security. I think that people also see Canada and the agricultural powerhouse that we are. There are incredible opportunities, and there's a bridge between Ukraine and Canada that really doesn't exist for any other nation. And it's something that we can really leverage as Ukraine moves towards its vision of where it's going to be taking its country in the next 5 to 10 years. So we really want to talk about the future and what that future looks like for both countries and how we see that. Okay, so actually, why don't I start with Taras? So Taras Vysotsky is the Deputy Minister, Agriculture and Food of Ukraine. He has experience as a manager in private enterprise, as an expert on agricultural markets, and as a leader of industry associations, and of course, in government. So he is joining us from Kyiv, Ukraine. We welcome you.
Good afternoon, dear participants of today's event. Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to participate, and we are glad that the representatives of the best Ukrainian agri-food businesses are within the panel discussion offline during today's conference. Actually, of course, Ukraine has lots of challenges, including the recent ones we see today. But we are sure in our victory and look quite forward toward the development of our food after the war. On behalf of the government, I would like to make a focus on three main directions we are so far looking for, and we are looking forward to keep cooperation with the Canadian business, with the international business, with the bilateral Canadian-Ukrainian business. When we look at these three areas, all of them are of big importance. One is food processing. Also, we see within the panel discussion representatives of food processing businesses. We really see the opportunities to keep developing and also exporting the different kinds of agri-food from Ukraine, as we can provide the necessary raw materials and the necessary base for its production. Also, we are very looking forward to supporting of the government in these times the horticulture sector. You have grants, and now are increasing the production of vegetables of all types, fruit in Ukraine, also with the export of fresh ones, frozen ones, processed ones, move forward. It's very important for create a lot of new working places, rural areas, also added value, and with the possibility to keep exporting to different directions. And briefly, but last but not least, especially during these days, it's very important in the direction of bioenergy. When we talk about bioenergy, it's important for agriculture. Because agriculture can produce the necessary raw materials and residuals for the production of different kinds of bioenergy. We are actually talking about bioethanol, biodiesel. Also, important that for Ukrainian national security, it can support our energy independence. As we see, what are the risks in the current day, electricity shortage of being energy independent, and also we need to move quickly and to be honest, we have necessary people and also necessary inputs in respect to raw materials, but we need these technologies to bring in to move forward. And all of these three directions are dependent on logistics. There, I'm sure most people talk about it. Logistics is very crucial. We are export-oriented, so without logistics, impossible to develop in agriculture. Good news that the grain corridor has been prolonged for another 4 months, but we need much more. And to keep developing all different kinds of logistics, Black Sea of course, but also other alternative routes. So all the participants of today's events are actually very welcome to participate, develop different kinds of logistics within our country. So it's briefly the main things. More details are on the website Vantage Ukraine. Also the presentations of new agricultural policy which were done in London, Berlin, also available. So you're welcome to participate in today's discussion and further on in the actual doing business in Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you, Taras. I'm going to ask Noam Silberstein to speak now. He is the Senior Vice President of Corporate Development at AGI and oversees all M&A, integration, corporate development, and strategic initiatives. AGI is a global leader in planning, engineering, manufacturing, and executing full solutions and systems across 5 platforms: seed, fertilizer, grain, feed, and food, and partners with customers and suppliers on 6 continents. So, Noam, thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. First of all, I speak on behalf of the panel. Thank you for spending time with us instead of watching the Canada-Belgium World Cup game. We appreciate that. I won't give a lot of background on myself because Catherine did a great job there. I'll just add from a personal standpoint that my grandmother was from Lviv, and I had an opportunity to spend time in Ukraine with my team, my colleagues in 2018, touring through Odessa, Mykolaiv, Kiev, Kharkiv, visiting some of the projects that we had built or supplied equipment to, customers, potential partners, and it is an amazing country. We're 100% personally and as a company committed to continue to do business there. AGI, Catherine mentioned a little bit about it. I'll add a few more points. We're a publicly listed Canadian company, over $1 billion in revenue annually. We have 35 manufacturing facilities around the world. And we really manufacture, supply the world's food infrastructure. So the physical infrastructure and the digital infrastructure. What I mean with physical can range from a single auger or a belt conveyor or a small hopper bin to a farmer, or the COFCO port facility in Mykolaiv, where we supplied tens of millions of dollars of equipment for that system. Our presence in Ukraine has been since 2010. Some of my colleagues have been traveling there and engaging in the local business there for quite a while. We spent time with many of the large customers like COFCO, Riz Oil, EVT, POSCO, Nebulon, and Kernel and others. And our sales over the last 5 years are well over $100 million. So again, a real commitment to the region and now to this next phase. I'll touch briefly on a couple of topics that we may dig deeper into during this panel. The rebuild is obviously going to be quite significant from an equipment standpoint, grain storage and handling, For starters, there is over $1 billion of damage done. 15% of grain storage capacity has been destroyed. A lot of our facilities have sustained significant damage. So one of our objectives is to be there and help to rebuild what's already there. There's, as Taras mentioned, significant priorities around rebuilding that basic infrastructure in the western part of the country, river terminals and additional port terminals, and also, interestingly, to move into processing. And I think that's an area that is ripe for discussion as Ukraine looks to continue to develop beyond just rebuilding and building better, as has been said numerous times so far today. The last topic I'll mention is financing. It's critical for us as a Canadian company to have the Canadian government, EDC, and other financial institutions supporting us as we look to help our customers in Ukraine. I'll leave it there.
Thank you so much, Noam. And now we give the floor to Oleg Bilevets from Billigrain. They are a family business consisting of a vertically integrated group of companies. From selecting and breeding grain, a seed farming and processing company, a food production company. And I was really impressed to find out the only seed company in Ukraine that has its own facilities for seed propagation. So it's 100% under your control. So Oleg, please, you've got the floor.
Thank you. Good afternoon. We will talk about agro-innovation. The agrosphere doesn't look like the one where we could reinvent anything. It seems like everything has been accomplished. We have learned how to grow plant with maximum efficiency, to protect them from diseases, climate changes, insects. We have made steady progress since the beginning 20th centuries. However, although at the first glance, it may appear that there is the same agent for crops to feed our growing global population. The demand for food has changed already, not in terms of quantity, but in terms of quality. The motto "Live to Eat" long ago changed to "Eat to Live." However, even this is not correct for the most, not longer correct for the most developed countries. Instead, this watchword, there is another motto like "Eat healthy to live longer," because the people are striving to live longer and enjoy a better quality life. We at Billigrain embraced this motto for past 23 years. And in order to put this philosophy into progress, our geneticists spent decades on painstaking selection to create a revolutionary new grain. Our agronomists have professionally produced seeds on our land using processing planting technology. We installed a grain stone mill to produce a whole grain flour. We launched manufacturing of natural pasta. We reinvent our grain by enhancing its natural, additional natural nutritional properties. When compare ordinary grain, our colored grain, inherited with the additional beneficial features from wild heather, bilberries, and blueberries. Our grain boasts an increased content of fiber and proteins, as well as essential vitamins and minerals like magnesium, zinc, iron, along with anthocyanins, which is known to be the most powerful antioxidants. How does it impact our health? It reduces the risk of cardiac arrests through blocking cholesterol oxidation and preventing atherosclerotic plaque initiation. It preventing cancer by suppressing the function, the formation of malignant tumors in the blood vessels by and neutralize free radicals. It safeguards to lose the vision by protecting retina photoreceptors destruction.
Do you have some with you?
And it at least it helps to control our body weight. It supports our body healthy, overall healthy, and by supporting improving the pancreas, which is one of the key organs responsible for our well-being. So, our main goal to create a range of popular products based on our unique grain. We began from the pasta, and we plan to diversify more into other line as muesli, snacks, breads, rolls. And we appeal to the modern, health-conscious and environmental aware consumer. This makes the future prospect for this product extremely promising, and we stand behind an important truth, as Hippocrates said: "Let food to be your medicine, and let medicine to be your food."
Thank you so much, Oleg. Okay, so now we're moving to Ihor Liski. He is the founder and chairman of the supervisory board of Effective Investments Group, EFI Group. He is an investor who has been attracting Ukrainian and international investments into various spheres of the national economy for more than 20 years. And among the company's main fields of activity are paper, food, and wood processing, and supply of agricultural products, and as well, I know you'll be talking about Beehive. So, Ihor, please.
And now I will explain you all the advantages of my products. And no, I'm kidding. Yeah, because we have invested in different projects. I'm joking that it's my hobby to build the project from the greenfield, and we actually have more than 6 now, and two of them are in development. So the main business, as you heard, it's packaging and paper production. The second one is food processing. Honey Beehive brand is one of the most famous in Ukraine, and we are the biggest exporter from Ukraine, exporting 27 countries already, and I can't say so, but war even help us to expand to Europe because of the just more easy to get to get the access to the European markets. I believe that the next destination will be Canada, and we also have a completely new project, Feed Nova. We started just before the war, and all our investors they were just from from Austria and Holland. They were really worried about how we will survive. But after the next board meeting, we found out that we increase our production and export more than 42%. So and they're ready to invest further, and we are talking about this stage number 2. We also believe in Ukrainian healthcare. We are developing medical care clinics, small one, the chain of small one. There are now more than 40 of them, and also some IT projects. So, for example, DocUA is one of the most famous. We are the biggest health tech company in Ukraine. So I think we have an expertise in all these sectors. So agriculture, food processing, packaging, healthcare, and IT. So you're more than welcome just to ask me how to invest in Ukraine and why to invest in Ukraine is profitable. Not only the emotional or as one guy it's obligatory to invest in Ukraine. No. First of all, it will be profitable. So if you want to know how, just ask me.
Thank you so much, Ihor. Okay, so Gordon Bacon is the Director of Food Systems at Global Pulse Confederation. It represents all segments of the pulse industry value chain, from growers, researchers, logistics, all the way to consumers. Its membership includes 24 national associations and over 600 private sector members. He is the former CEO of Pulse Canada. He is an inductee into the Canadian Agricultural Hall of Fame. And during his career, he took Pulse Canada from 1997 to playing an influential role in the United Nations declaring 2016 as the International Year of Pulses. Under his leadership, Canada has become a major producer and the world's largest pulse exporter, peas, lentils, and beans, investing heavily to develop a robust industry and innovative approaches to quality, functionality, and sustainability advantages. Gordon, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Catherine. Well, thank you for the honor to be here and speaking to you, and I want to keep my comments brief. I could talk about production, because this is the first step. We have to have grains and pulses grown. Taras, you talked about logistics. Once the product is grown, whether it's getting seed and inputs into the field and then the grain and pulses out of the field. But I want to talk about sort of the next phase, which is the marketing side. And this is appealing to consumers and also taking a look at what's driving transformation in the food industry. And I believe that the biggest change that will occur in the food industry over the next 10 years is related to sustainability. Most of the discussion has been about carbon footprint, but sustainability needs to talk about things like loss of biodiversity. It needs to talk about water quality, water use, and in fact, there's something like 17 different factors. So as we think about what the pulse industry on a global basis needs, the kinds of things that Canada should be doing, in my mind, are the same things I would suggest Ukraine give some consideration to. I won't tell Ukraine what they should be doing, but a lot of the food industry, whether you talk to Nestle or whether you talk to other global giants like PepsiCo or companies that are starting out in the business, are taking a look at sustainability, and data is needed to drive it. The data sources now are from life cycle assessment databases, and one of the things we need to do in Canada and Ukraine as well is make sure the data is up to date, because you can have a very sophisticated calculation, but if you're using dated information or incorrect information, garbage in will give you garbage out. So to me, this is the opportunity. We have to be competitive on a commodity basis, which means increasing productivity and being able to compete on a price basis. But the opportunity, and especially for Ukraine with its proximity to the European Union, in my mind, is really to take a look at sustainability. By 2025, all of the dairy and meat products in Europe will have to have a carbon label. So feed ingredients, whether it's corn or whether it's peas, we need to make sure, Ukraine will want to make sure that they understand what the carbon footprint from production is. And I think that I see that food companies won't compete in methodology on sustainability, because I think we'll move to a standardized process to look at sustainability, but then the sourcing of ingredients to meet their corporate promise on sustainability will become really key. So I'll just leave with a last comment that I think that the opportunity is for governments and academics in Canada and Ukraine to work together to make sure that we are developing a common understanding of that path forward. And then we'll leave it up to private companies to collect the data, to package it, to companies to put it into food products. But we have to do some background work in the pre-competitive stage to make sure that we are prepared for this future of food where sustainability and environmental impact plays a big role. I'll leave my comments there.
Thank you so much, Gordon. I'm going to jump into the virtual world, and I'm going to introduce Oleksandr Haidu. He is the People's Deputy, elected official, chairman of the Committee on Agrarian and Land Policy, and most recently, he authored a bill to remove import duties on sacks, bags, and special equipment for grain storage directly in the fields. I think it's really important to note that the Ukrainian government, parliament, still obviously continues to operate and under enormous challenges is drafting bills and is really making things work and being agile in very difficult circumstances. So, Oleksandr, please, the floor is yours.
Вітання з України всім учасникам конференції.
The interpreter unfortunately is blocked without electricity, so I will support Alexander in application this evening. So Alexander is sending greetings from Ukraine to all participants of the conference.
Перш за все хочу подякувати Канаді, уряду та всім громадянам за неймовірну підтримку України ці складні для нашої країни час.
Alexander is thankful to Canada, government of Canada, all the Canadians for the support of Ukraine during these hard times.
Я
Finished. Click down. In our region, yes.
So I guess we're going to see if we can restore a connection, but in the meantime, I'm actually going to ask Boris, you're going to step in now, and we'll see what happens in Kyiv. But again, you know, it could be the electrical connection, and that's the reality of Ukraine today. So Boris Shestopalov from HD Group. He's the co-owner and CEO of HD Group and GFS Group. I thought this was really interesting. He's the honorary consul of the Republic of Austria in Zaporizhzhia. He's the vice president of the All-Ukrainian Association of Bakers and Association of Flour Mills of Ukraine. And he has a PhD in economics. HD Group HD Group is the group of companies in the agri-food segment with a focus on B2B clients. It comprises grain processing enterprises, bread and pastry factories, a jam and preserves plant, as well as companies providing procurement and logistics services. So there you go. Boris, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, all participants of this panel and all guests. But I think you have a lot of information about me.
I found out a lot about you,
more
Boris.
than enough. Okay, I just said some words about it, about me, about our business, and I think about future. We talk it next round. How would say about me, Catherine? I develop with our team some company in Ukraine. We concentrate of all grocery products. We have full line of products like flour. We produce big line of cereals, flakes, different type of jams, toppings, syrups, a lot of bread, fresh bread for every day, and frozen bread. Last 6 years, we start to develop in Ukraine. Maybe we open this market in Ukraine, new market for ready meals. ready meals and ready to go. And we start our business with change profile of Ukrainian net of petrol stations. And now I think in Ukraine we have very, very modern petrol stations with a full line of products. At the same time, we, of course, we make a lot of exports before the war. Our main products for export is flour, it's cereals. We have a big experience for work with United Nations, for big tenders, for South Africa, for Middle East. And of course, after 24th of February, situations is change for our company. We, first of all, we change from very peaceful company with very usually products for company which is part like critical infrastructure of Ukraine. And meeting with military, for us, it's now usually things. Because we supply a lot of products to Ukrainian military forces. And we exactly change profile of our factory for ready meal. We start to produce emergency packages for military and for refugees. The same time we start to open our export channel. We start to, it's, now we have, I think, size little bit more than before the war. But of course, with all the trouble what we have with the logistics channel, and we used every road what we have chance. Any minutes, dry way, or Black Sea when it's possible, or Dunai River. Okay, what is more? Okay, after the start of the war, during the 2-3 weeks, we lost 4 factories in south of Ukraine, in central of Ukraine. But we have very good dynamics. Now we return 2 of 4. It means we physically return 50% of our losses. And very good dynamics. I think we very, and for me, how it looks, I see in future a very good chance for continue this dynamics. It means good time, like I say, Igor, for start to think about investment for Ukraine, even not put money, maybe little bit small money for start to make it papers. But we talk about for next round, and I announce little bit project what we start to develop exactly 25th of February. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Boris. I can see that Taras is connecting to audio. Do we have him back? Do we have Alexander and Taras back? Okay, so while we're working on that, I'd like to introduce Radion Rubchinsky, Ukraine Grain Millers Association President. In addition, he is a distinguished representative from Ukraine for the Food and Agriculture Organization, a specialized agency of the United Nations that leads international efforts to defeat hunger.
Добрий день, шановні пані та панове. На жаль, в мене немає такого перекладача, як у Олександра Гайду в якості першого заступника міністра. У мене буде перекладачем чудова наша дівчинка Оля. Вона буде за мною на англійську перекладати.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. Unfortunately, I don't have that renowned interpreter, but I will be here with you today and I will help to translate.
Я в якості тут в двох ролях. Це голови спілки борошномели України і експерта по зерновому ринку Всесвітньої продовольчої організації ФАО.
I'm here today in both roles as the founder of FAO, yes.
UN.
Association.
Якщо ми говоримо про борошномельний ринок, який склався в Україні після війни, то ось якраз Борис, один із наших членів і віце-президент нашої асоціації, він не дасть збрехати. Ми в перший же день війни разом якраз з Тарасом Висоцьким започаткували щоденну координацію обсягів постачання зерна на борошномельні підприємства, з борошномельних підприємств на хлібопекарські підприємства для того, щоб максимально забезпечити населення продуктами першої необхідності.
So from the first months, from the first days of the war, we decided that we saw that there going to be the shortage of buckwheat supplies and seed supplies. So we managed to discuss how to transport and how to cover this shortage in Ukraine.
Тому що якраз перший місяць це був найбільш трагічний місяць, і найбільше проблем було з логістикою, в першу чергу логістикою і зернових грузів, і логістикою внутрі країни. Тобто для того, щоб переміщати обсяги борошна або хліба, це через кожні 3-5 кілометрів стояли блокпости. Тобто дуже проблемна була частина машин, яка була у підприємств, їх забирала армія, а треба було забезпечувати доставку цих грузів.
When the war started, it was really tragic, and we faced the difficulty with the logistics. So you know that in Ukraine, during the first days, there were a lot of block posts. So all our cars, all our vans, they like every 5-10 kilometers, they met those block posts, and there was kind of it took more time than we expected.
Повернулися, наше керівництво аграрне повернулося. Тому перші місяці це була робота на зараз, на сьогодні. А вже десь починаючи з квітня ми почали планувати і розраховувати те, що буде трішки пізніше.
So when the war started, we were thinking how to survive now, but since April, we decided that it's time to think about the future.
І тут я хочу розповісти історію співпраці саме з Канадою.
And I wanted to tell you the story of cooperation with Canada.
Тому що якраз в квітні ми порахували, що Україна стикнеться з дефіцитом пропозиції гречаної крупи в цьому сезоні.
In April, we estimated that Ukraine is going to see the shortage of buckwheat and buckwheat groats.
Це було пов'язано з тим, що 50% крупи гречаної останні 5-7 років ми завозили або з Білорусі, або з Росії, або з Казахстану.
This is because 50% of buckwheat and buckwheat groats were transported from Belarus and Kazakhstan.
Крім того, частина областей, які традиційно вирощували гречку, це Сумська, Харківська області, вони були окуповані.
And the regions, Kharkivska, Sumska regions, they were occupied, and these regions were actually where we
І тому ми
grew
почали
buckwheat.
шукати насіння гречки по світу, але, на жаль, це не є сама розпространена культура в світі. І де ми її знайшли? Ми знайшли її в Манітобі.
So we decided that we are going to look for buckwheat all around the world, and Manitoba was the place where we found it.
Саме у фермера, який є етнічним українцем, який його там дід, коли він приїхав 70 років тому в Канаду, він і завіз з собою насіння гречки.
So we found this farmer whose granddad was ethnical Ukrainian, and they
За
were growing
допомогою
that.
Міністерства аграрної політики, за допомогою посольства України в Канаді знайшли вихід на уряд Канади, який закупив 140 тонн насіння гречки.
Thanks to Agrarian Ministry and thanks to the Embassy of Canada, we were able to buy and transport buckwheat seeds.
А за допомогою Україно-канадської фундації, пані Вікторія, вона у Мін якраз є віце-президентом цієї організації, було забезпечення постачання насіння до Європи.
Thanks to Ukrainian Canadian Foundation and to Miss Victoria, who is here, we were able to figure out the logistics and transportation of buckwheat.
І завдяки цьому на сьогоднішній день ми посіяли, ну верніше, вже не на сьогоднішній день, ми літом посіяли 1600 гектарів насіння гречки, яка дала врожай порядка 4000 тонн.
So the project started on the first days of April, and it is like for today we sow 120 tons of seeds on about 16,000 hectares in more than 70 farms in Ukraine.
І на сьогоднішній день, в тому числі і завдяки допомозі Канади з насінням, питання з дефіцитом пропозиції гречки на ринку України вирішений.
And thanks to Canada, the question with the shortage of buckwheat is dissolved.
Дякую. Ну, у мене є ще одна історія пов'язана з Канадою, але хватить.
I have one more story, but it's enough for now.
Thank you so much. We now have the pleasure of returning back to Kyiv. Thank you for coming back to us. We were worried about you. So, Oleksandr, please continue.
Так, дуже вибачаємося за технічну можливу замінку, як то говорять. Тож, час дуже важливий українцям і миколаївцям в даному випадку відчувати підтримку світу, зокрема і Канади у всіх сферах, і політичній, і гуманітарній, і економічній. Це ми вам дуже дякуємо.
So far, it's very important for Ukrainians, for Ukrainian farmers to feel the support from whole world and namely Canada with respect to political, humanitarian, economical experts, and we do feel it and are very thankful for this support.
Окрема подяка від українських аграріїв. Саме вони сьогодні переживають дуже непрості часи.
Special thank you from Ukrainian agricultural producers who go through very hard challenges these days.
Саме Канада одною з перших надала фінансову допомогу нашим аграріям на придбання засобів для тимчасового зберігання врожаю.
Canada was one of the first that provides the financial support to buy these silver bags, which can be used for the storage of agricultural commodities in Ukraine.
Дуже важливим кроком було скасування візних мит та тарифних квот на українські товари.
And as you said during the introduction, indeed the Parliament made this important step of cancellation of VAT and import duties on this equipment.
Канада була і залишається потужним партнером економічним нашої країни.
Canada is a strategic partner within the bilateral trade with Ukraine.
За минулий рік загальна сума товарообороту аграрної продукції між нашими країнами зросла майже втричі з 77 мільйонів до 100 мільйонів доларів США. На третину.
The last year, the overall turnover has grown one third to almost $100 million per year.
Більшість товарів – це саме продукція наших аграріїв. Найбільше Україна експортує до Канади корову, сою, хліб, малини, олії.
Most of the products within our bilateral trade are agricultural commodities. Ukraine exports to Canada peas, soybeans, berries, and different kinds of oils. First of all, sunflower oil.
Натомість ми імпортуємо чимало з різноманітної замороженої риби.
Ukraine is importing first of all frozen fish, but also different kinds of seeds.
Переконаний, що сьогодні, коли є загроза продовольчої безпеки світу, наша співпраця має тільки посилюватися.
We Alexander assures that during these days when the world food security is under risks, it's very important to keep developing our cooperation.
Сьогодні український парламент в цілому і аграрний комітет, зокрема, активно працює над законодавчими ініціативами, які осучаснюють наше законодавство та сприятимуть інтеграції до європейських норм.
These days, the Ukrainian Parliament in general and the Agricultural Committee of the Parliament in particular are very actively working on legislation adoption and improvement with respect to integration to European Union.
Аби Україна пройшла прискорений шлях від кандидатства до повноцінного членства в ЄС.
It's very important for Ukraine to move very quickly from the candidate status to the whole membership status within the European Union.
Пріоритетними для нас є реформи у сфері насінництва, використання засобів захисту рослин, безпеки харчових продуктів та контролю за обігом ГМО.
On our agenda, the reforms in the sphere of seeds, pesticides, genetically modified organisms, and food safety are very important.
Минулого тижня парламент підтримав законодавство у сфері охорони прав на сорти рослин, який дозволить нашим аграріям отримувати доступ до нових сортів.
Actually, last week the law was adopted by the parliament, which opens the access to seeds from the best developed countries, including Canada, free access without additional special registrations to Ukrainian farmers.
Також ми голосували за зміни у сфері пестицидів та агрохімікатів, завдяки яким аграрії тепер зможуть використовувати більш якісні засоби захисту рослин.
Also, last week, the law on pesticides was voted, which provides the access to the best developed technological solutions in this respect for Ukrainian farmers.
Працюємо також над підвищенням стандартів безпеки харчових продуктів. Ухвалили законопроект, який визначає вимоги до упаковки харчових продуктів і матеріалів, що контактують з ними.
Also, the parliament is working on the food safety issues, and the law on contact materials was voted this autumn, which also regulates the necessary issues and protects the consumer in this respect.
Ці зміни захистять наших споживачів та допоможуть розширити ринки збуту для наших виробників.
Seeds protect the consumer, but it's very important. It's supposed to open new markets for the producers of the agricultural commodities in Ukraine.
Ще один напрям роботи – регулювання використання ГМО. У Верховній Раді у першому читанні вже прийнято законопроект, який осучаснює цю сферу.
Another very important direction is GMO regulation issues, and the necessary law has gone through the first reading in the parliament so far.
Ми хочемо встановити зрозумілу процедуру реєстрації ГМО, чіткі вимоги до бізнесу, у тому числі і частини маркування такої продукції.
It's very important to put the clear and transparent and predictable rules with respect to registration of GMO products and seeds in Ukraine and the identification of them.
У цій сфері ми зацікавлені у запозиченні досвіду Канади як країни, яка вже дуже давно з високим рівнем розвитку генетичної інженерії та регулювання у сфері ГМО це використовує.
And in this respect, it's very important to take the Canadian experience where it's possible to use both technologies, GMO and non-GMO, the latest solutions, and benefit for the farmers from application of these technologies.
Україна прагне змін, і ми оновлюємо законодавство та впроваджуємо нові технології.
Ukraine is changing quickly, and the new legislation and technologies are adopted.
Цей шлях ми обрали давно, а зараз ми прискорюємо цей рух.
So far, we are trying to do our best to move as fast as possible in this direction.
Я дуже сподіваюся на підтримку Канади на цьому шляху.
Alexander really hopes for the support of Canada within this way.
Разом ми зможемо забезпечити продовольчу безпеку світу.
Together we can secure the international food security.
Дякую вам за увагу та вашу підтримку.
Thank you for your attention and support.
So thank you so much, Alexander, because you have brought us into the next phase of our panel, which is this is the exciting question and answer time, and I want to really start with the vision. So, let's transport ourselves 5 years into the future. We see a government that is, a war that has ended, a Ukrainian victory, a European member, the whole, the PR, the brand, the world knows who Ukraine is, and this government is already putting in place that vision, that powerful vision, 2.0, what that looks like, what rebuilding Ukraine looks like. So please tell us what you see in a couple of words. Who wants to start?
Just it's very easy to start with the words. Just I have a dream, but actually it's not a dream. I really believe in that, and more that when we work on that every day, so we convince all the world that Ukrainians are special, resilient, and just they on the side of light, fighting with the darkness in different. From different angles, but first of all, I believe that we, after the victory and just celebration, I believe in that. So we really have another front line. It's changing and modernizing Ukraine, and I believe it's not only about rebuilding, because I'm actually really don't want just to rebuild the old buildings, the old factories, which we have from the Soviet time. I really believe in modernize Ukraine with the brand new innovative factories with additional values and with the new technologies, with the Western collaboration and Western partnerships. I believe that Canadian flags will be in different factories and with the new technology. And that's in what I see the new Ukraine in 5 years. But I want just to step back from the emotional side. I want just to some practical things why I believe it's possible. Because Ukraine is, we know from 30 years, every time we saying again that it's the best soil, the best people, the best geographical situation, first of all in agriculture. But my personal opinion that we should be focused on the additional value, not to export just the commodities, but to process it in Ukraine. Just my personal experience. So Ukraine was famous for exporting of honey, like number 3 in the world. The small country, number 3 in the world. But there will be not the only brand as Ukrainian honey. Just you can't find it in any supermarket all over the world. So I was spent 5 years, built a brand new factory, and now we export in 27 countries with additional value, with a branded beehive made in Ukraine. It's like a drop of Ukrainian sun, and I believe that's possible in with every product. So, and I believe that the new industrialization of Ukraine with a modern Western technology will be the next future of Ukraine.
So imagine we walk into our supermarkets here, and on every shelf, there's products with made in Ukraine and brands that we know and trust and love that are global brands. That's what he's talking about. Okay, who else would like to add to this?
Maybe it's better one by one.
We're
One point of view inside, one point of
we've
view
got so many
outside.
questions. We're talking vision.
Okay.
So does anyone else want to share what they see?
Okay, for me not so difficult because it's a very subject very close to me. How you could know, how you could hear our country and our government a lot of concentrate to. We last 30 years we concentrate for the growing best harvest in the world and best raw material in the world. But my personality view and my personality business and my personality target to change agri-food to agri-food tech. And Ukrainian has a very good positions in IT market. We have a very good positions in export of commodities, in agriculture commodities. My opinion, next step, we must to match these two positions and start to create agri-food tech business. And thank you to Parliament. We have now, during the war, happened miracle. Parliament adopted a law about industrial parks. It's revolutionary steps for Ukraine. I hope it's good steps, but not last steps. We're waiting next rules about infrastructure support from government to our infrastructure for the build industrial parks with agri-food tech specializations. And my idea it's build new Ukrainian ecosystems. We are like a part of these ecosystems with a big fundament from industrial parks, cluster industrial park with concentrate for different type of category, for example, around the one main positions, like for example, clusters park around the corn. And we concentrate everything about corn processing. And like I say, Gordon in his small sustainable announce, we must do it sustainable now. For example, after 24th of February, we start to build solar stations in each our factory. And not because of sustainable, just because of sustainable. It's a other side of medal. First side of medal, we must to do it this because we decrease power from regular electricity. We know what is happening now with our energy system. And my opinion, it's not after the 5 years. My opinion, during these 5 years, we must to change exactly all industry, because we have a. It's a little bit strange for this time if I say you have a very good positions now, but no. First of all, even airplanes start to fly against the wind. Now Ukrainians stay exactly in the epicenter of ideal storm, but it's a very safety place. My opinion, we must to start now. We must to start now. No need to waiting big victory. When the big victory happened, we must to ready to produce.
That's a very, very important perspective. Thank you, Boris. Taras, what about yourself? Do you have anything to add on vision? What you see?
So, actually, agree with the colleagues' previous comments. Also, on our side, and our main task is together with Alexander and other colleagues and within the government, actually to create most favorable conditions. One was described by Boris, but actually it's only one. Really, in this doing business ratings, we should be at least in top 10. Because it's the main priority for FDI and quickly moving on. And it's now we are sure that the time came to make this challenge and to make these steps. So far we are focusing on it to rechange, not rebuild as yours, but really make it extraordinary another way that governmental institutions with respect to creating these favorable conditions. Because we are surely in 5 years going to have customs union, memberships, other possibilities, but still we have to understand that we are going to compete for the capital and the deal. And really, this doing business as a benchmark is very important, and we are moving forward to this direction.
Thank you so much, Taras. So we're hearing it's not about rebuilding. It's about completely reinventing, recreating something new in the world. And that also involves, to do that, a government that is interested in ease of doing business and serving its citizens. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next question. How can Canada help? How do you see Canada and Canadian companies' role in that, or perhaps experience we can offer? So Noam, Gordon, would love to hear your perspective.
Okay, I'll start and then pass it over. Can you hear me okay? There we go. I think there's a real opportunity for leadership from Canada in this reinvention, both from the government, the financial institutions, and the companies like ours. Areas where we can really contribute, I think one is technology and sustainability, which we touched on briefly earlier. Selling of commodities is a thing of the past, should be a thing of the past. And either we're processing the commodity or we're selling a commodity with data attached to it. How was that commodity grown? What were the conditions in which it was stored? How was it conditioned, dried? What moisture content, what temperature, what CO2 levels? And then that, you start to put together the building blocks of traceability. And so now you have a commodity with some additional value that you can export to the European Union, for example, a low carbon wheat, as an example. So there's processing, then there's the data attached to the technology. I think the other area is financing. A lot of these projects, as we heard earlier, require significant amounts of capital. And as a country, we should be able to supply the full solution. The systems, the equipment, the engineering, the project management, and also the financing to entrepreneurs like many on this panel.
Yeah, I'll jump in and just say, we'll have a discussion about who has the best soil. I think it's fascinating to know that in Canada, we use the same terminology, solanetsik, luvasolic. We use the same language to describe our soils. And if you've ever been in Alberta and in Ukraine, you kind of think you're in the same part of the world because the trees look the same, the crops look the same, everything, the ditches look the same. So we share something. So I think there's an opportunity for governments and for academics to work together as global food companies. It would be and grain processing companies to have supplies from two different parts of the world is very strong, because if you have a crop production problem, drought, flooding, poor quality because of rain at harvest, it's really nice to know that you can still supply your customers from another, or logistics problems, which we all encounter. So my vision will say that we have some really strong partnerships that start with government and academia to develop this metrology around the future of food, to look at some of the sustainability. And I think with that, it will help create business partnerships all through, from production level, on through to supplying both startup food companies as well as some of the major ones. So I think, Taras, the challenge and opportunity is to sort of partner up with the Government of Canada and academics to sort of build some of this background information, which then is fed into the commercial and more competitive food system of the future.
So Gordon, what I'm hearing from you is, and it's not just about competing, for example, it's really collaboration, partnership, and by bringing the Canadian advantage and the Ukrainian advantage together, we can have a can-you-could advantage that we can leverage to become, powerhouses together in some respective spaces, right?
Absolutely. I mean, Ukraine's importance in feeding 8 billion people is huge. What was the comment? Ukraine exports for feeding 400 million people, I think was the comment from this morning. Canada is also a major exporter, so we are collaborators in that we're both producing and exporting nations.
Yes.
We have the raw materials to produce food rather than just export the commodity. And I think that the area of collaboration becomes more important than this idea that we are competitors. And I think we will go much further together than we will trying to go it alone and being competition.
And remember what we heard about the IT and the powerhouse, and that's something that Ukrainian engineers and Ukraine can really offer Canada and offer, like there's so many, it goes two ways. So, Ihor.
I actually also want just to, what I'm thinking about is what Canada can do is to provide the instrument, not only about financing or investing, but also instrument, how other people can finance in Ukraine. Because, it's even some foreigners or some companies believe in Ukraine or believe in some companies. It's not easy just to invest directly. So if the government, probably Ukrainian government together with Canadian government, can find the way how to make the easy instrument to, let's say, go to make an IPO on the Canadian stock exchange, or just to like easily issue some bonds in Canadian stock exchange or in Canadian financial markets, because I have an experience how to make an IPO of Ukrainian mining company in Canada. I think still now it's probably the biggest Canadian investment to Ukraine, more than $67 million indirectly. So I understand how just to raise money here, if you have all the documents and papers, it's easy if they understand the standards, it's in the way the Canadian or Western company understand. But more than that, if you have the access to the Canadian stock exchange market, so for example, we have companies from all over the world, like 30% from London, 25% from New York, and all the rest from Canada. So it's just the door. If the Canadian government will work on that, or if Ukrainian government will work on that together with Canadian, it will be a win-win story. That's, I think, is a good story.
Well, we also have in the audience credit union, so representatives. So that's been a driver for us as well in Canada, not just the banks. So I'm sure they can work on things as well. Rodion?
Якщо казати, я більш приземленно хочу принести, як то кажуть, тему. Дивіться, зараз ситуація така. Частина України була під окупацією, частина ще окупована. Тобто там знищена вся інфраструктура, в тому числі по зберіганню, переробки зерна і все інше. Так? В цьому році, вибачте.
Yeah, thank you. So the situation is that some parts of Ukraine there are some forces still there, and a lot of infrastructure is destroyed in these parts of Ukraine.
В цьому році завдяки Канаді, яка виділила $40 мільйонів США.
This year, thanks to Canada, who gave $40 million USA dollars.
Було закуплено 30 700 сілобегів, рукавів зернових для зберігання зерна.
So we bought
Сілобег.
Yeah, grain sleeves.
Да. І обладнання для завантаження-розвантаження.
Yeah, and the equipment to upload and the seats itself.
244 мобільних елеватора.
244 elevators.
Але це стосується якраз цієї частини України, яка під контролем нашої влади.
But this is about the part of Ukraine that we control.
Коли ми зайдемо на територію, яка зараз окупована, там взагалі нічого немає.
But if we move to the parts that are under Russian forces, there is nothing there.
Немає техніки, немає обладнання, немає насіння, немає средств захисту рослин, і нічого немає.
There is nothing, no seeds, no technical side, no equipment.
І тут треба казати не скільки про food security у всьому світі,
So we're not talking about food security all over the world.
Скільки про те, щоб взагалі сільське господарство України повернулось за ті ж, наприклад, 5 років хоча б до довоєнного стану.
We are talking about agrarian sector to be the same as it was before the war started.
От. І це колосальні гроші, які потрібні Україні будуть і саме сільському господарству.
This is enormous funding that we need to find out and to invest.
Можна казати, що ми там будемо IPO розміщати чи що інше, але це колись буде. От.
Everything we were talking about, this will be, but this will be in the future.
Перше, це буде забезпечити населення продуктами першої необхідності.
The first thing is to supply the Ukrainian
Тобто
population with the food.
Восстановить плодоріддя почви.
First of all, we need to solve the issue with soil.
Забезпечити врожай, його зберігання і переробку.
We need to make sure that we have enough of grains and supplies for the
ще
population.
Ми всі разом будемо робити.
Я ж кажу, я інструмент, як фінансувати.
Так, я розумію, да, я розумію. Але я хочу сказати, ви спитали, що нам потрібно, да, вже в наступному році.
Я спитала, how can Canada help? Як Канада
Що
може
від Канади
допомогти?
можна? Не будемо просити чогось нездійсненного. Те, що є зараз у Канаді.
We're going to ask about something unreal, something that Canada already has.
У Канади є високоякісне насіння.
Canada has
У Канади
high
є
quality seeds.
технологічне рішення по елеваторам.
Canada has the
І є технології, в тому числі і в тваринництві.
and you have high technology and equipment.
Оце перше, що потрібно. Я не кажу там проти грошей, гроші завжди.
Це подарунок має бути.
Гроші подарунок, да.
Yeah, money is as a gift.
Ні, саме в технологіях і наші сільгоспвиробники, у них є, якісь гроші є, якісь держава виділяє, якісь гранти. Але треба не боятися йти в Україну і пропонувати теж насіння, ті ж технології і те обладнання, яке зараз є у Канади.
So we shouldn't be afraid to go to Ukraine and offer all the equipment and all the grains that we already have.
And this is a really good point. It was going to be one of my questions around when is the time to come to Ukraine? When is the time to invest? And what I'm hearing from people is the time is now. The time is to start planning. The time is to start discussing and preparing, because it'll be too late. The train will leave that station and you will not be on it.
Yeah, I want to enforce that. There's just one just timing. Feed Nova, like just simple one state company, $20 million direct investment, preparing 3 years preparing, 1.5 years is constructing. So if we start right now, probably the good, solid business, industrial business, just need at least 2 years to preparing, designing, getting land, all the permission, just with, let's say, 2 or 3% of total investment. So just start now, don't waste time. There will be one of the hottest places in the world really soon.
Good perspective. Thank you for that, Ihor. I want to hear, actually, what we've seen is the incredible resilience and the urgency of the situation being used as a powerful driving force. That there's the companies, producers, really rising up to the challenge, and we're seeing what Ukraine and Ukrainians are capable of. So I would love to hear some examples of perhaps success stories that come to mind when I say that. Can anyone think of any that? I mean, we've heard about Ajax from Lena in the previous, about moving their production in 35 days. Are there any of those types of stories and of course we're seeing the news pieces about, the incredibly difficult conditions that farmers are harvesting in. What are some of the things that come to mind?
You mean successful stories?
Yes. Success or rising up to the challenge.
During this time?
Yeah,
So,
rising up to the challenge or
so-
responding to the urgency.
So we are raising $5 million for the second stage of FeedNova. I know that they just 2 months ago they had this very famous producing sport stuff. They announced that they continue to build a $150 million investment into Ukraine, and they continue to invest and to construct in Vinnytsia. It's close to you. Head start, yeah. And I know that there are 2 more projects, just totally 100 million each, and they get the support of the government and the new program from MIGA to secure military risks. It's just like innovation in Ukraine. So for the companies who start production right now, the special institution secure all the military risks, and this is innovation in Ukrainian reality. We'll see how it. And I was promised from the prime minister they will expand this program to other projects. So if you have a good project, probably you can even think about that. Just it's what come up to my mind.
Okay, thank you. Next question. What funds actually, we've talked about what funds, value, and expertise will be needed. If anyone has anything to add to that.
I have a question.
Do we have a question from the audience? Okay.
Do we have time?
Sure.
Because we're running out of time, right?
Yes.
First of all, to beehive and build rate, do you have empirical data to support product claims?
Just one.
Do you have empirical data to support product claims? Do you have scientific research that supports what you say your product will do?
It's a question for me.
Both.
For you.
Both. Sir, what is the next question?
Well, that's
Because it's something that I think right afterwards, maybe the 2 of you guys can connect.
yeah. Do you both have credit business cards?
Yeah.
Make sure I get them before I leave.
Yes. Okay, so see, already the Canada-Ukraine advantage.
Two is what you're proposing is moving down the value chain, right?
All right.
Every company across every product you can imagine is trying to do the same thing, right? All of your potential end user customers are doing everything to push the responsibility and cost further up the value chain. So that means that you are having the same strategy as everybody in the whole world. So how are you going to execute that? It's not an easy task, right? And the other question is, who has products that would fit, that could probably be grown in marginal farmland?
Just I'll give you a microphone because we hardly hear you.
Oh, okay. So, what you're proposing, especially this chap here, is moving down the value chain, right? Every product in every country across every line is trying to do the same thing, right? That means you're adopting a strategy that everybody on the planet is doing, whether you're living in the middle of the country in China or in the Caribbean. It's all the same. All of your customers are doing everything they can do to take the value chain and move responsibility and cost further up the chain. So how do you overcome that? And I'm telling you, I know all of the major retailers, grocery retailers in North America, they're all doing value chain analysis with the same goal, right? So the question you need to answer is, the only metric that means anything is the sales per square foot or the meters per square foot. That's all that they care about, right? So if you can't answer that, you're gonna have a hard time, right? And when everybody adopts the same strategy, the price goes up and the competition increases. Second is, do you have products that can be grown in marginal land? For example, in the Caribbean, right? 50 million in the Caribbean, they're being destroyed by the price of food. So is there any of your products, right, that I could take to, say, the Bahamas, right, and do something there, right? And can you turn your products, because you mentioned the BI guy,
Oleg, about, you mean the claims on
grain.
product?
Why can't I turn those in health food products, right? Can I not do that?
Okay,
Right.
look, this is a great example. Thank you so much, sir. Of he is saying this is the challenges. This is what I'm interested in. This is what I'd like to talk to you about. This is a perfect opportunity.
Make sure I get your business cards.
Yeah,
and
to connect. But this is how it all works. And I think it's now 3:15, so I think we actually have to wrap up. But what I would like to end off with is just thank you so much. Thank you for being part of this panel. Thank you for your interest in this. Thank you to my esteemed panelists. Each one of you has come here with tremendous experience and value, and we appreciate you taking your time. I encourage people to connect with these extraordinary people. This is what this is all about. And together, we will become stronger. So anything that anybody wants to say to wrap up? Or are we good to call it a wrap? Gordon.
Thank you, Catherine.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.